All right, here we are back again after a 1-year hiatus. Issa Rae's Insecure is back in the building, and the messiness that is Insecure is on steroids this year. The reason that I've liked Insecure, not loved it, but liked it, is not because that it's funny, because it's while it can be funny in moments, it's supposed to be I guess a dramedy or comedy, but it's black female comedy. I'm sure it's much more funnier to black females than it is to black men. But the reason I like it is because they actually do use real life situations. It's not one of those kind of made up things that could never happen in real life. A lot of stuff they use could happen in real life and does happen in real life. In fact, they've said that they get together in the writer's room and they tell stories. And the stories that are juiciest actually make it into the script because they have this code on Insecure to actually keep it real. So a lot of situations, even though the names have been changed to protect the innocent, but a lot of the situations are actually real. And some of this stuff I've actually experienced in my real life. And the fact that my daughter sounds exactly like Issa Rae when she starts lying. That's what got me. Because if you've ever heard my daughter lie as a grown-up person, that's Issa Rae and that funny voice. But anyway, let's get back to the story. The reason I really love this is because it actually shows the classes of women. I don't think there was 100 octane out there, but as far as the classes of women displayed from 92 on down, it was actually displayed. It even had the 85, which is the neighbor, which is the hood rat. So your 4 classes are actually there. And even as the subdivision, some of the what I call the subclasses, the special cases are actually there. And in this particular episode, a lot of your subclasses, the special classes, shout out to Cousin T-Taw, were actually on display. And maybe Cousin T-Taw, if you're listening, bruh, about the Queen Bee and the Queen Bee's court and how Tiffany actually does that. I think this would be an excellent time to actually do that because Tiffany and the Queen Bee is actually extremely messy, and how these characters actually circulate, especially in season 4, more around Tiffany than around Issa. So let's get into this before it gets too long. I don't want this to be too long for an Insecure. I know you guys have been waiting. I don't want this to be too long. But this kind of opens up with Issa saying that she doesn't fuck with Molly anymore, which you probably can see that coming because there's always been tension between Molly and her as far as being friends. It's like I said, with Molly and Issa, it's complicated, probably because Molly's mean. She's a mean 92. And Issa is that 92 failure that's an 89. It's within this particular episode, you can see her dip even further. So we'll kind of start with Issa because Molly's a special case. And with the new girl on the block, Condola, I will actually want to contrast Issa Rae and Condola. In fact, you can contrast all 3 of them because Condola is not only a special case, but she is the quintessential 92 octane, what they call a natural 92. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. Issa Rae, who, according to her story, actually grew up in the upscale part of Los Angeles, which is, I think it was Baldwin Hills? I think it was Baldwin Hills where she grew up, or Windsor Hills, I can't remember which one. But she actually grew up at the top of the hill, which is the quintessential 92 octane neighborhood for black people. Even some 100 octane people actually live up in that area. And because of the divorce, she descended on down into the 89 neighborhood, right? So basically, she's gone to school, she's hung out with the so-called regular kids. So she slid from a natural, should have been a natural 92, down to an 89. And the thing is, she has decided to slip down into 87 because you can actually see what she's actually doing and see who she's actually sleeping with. Because she's gone from Lawrence, who's actually a 92, that Ron Wills calls a masked man. He's got it basically all together. He's got the job, he's got degree, He's got the pedigree, and he's got the career path. He is the quintessential 92 mass man that will probably be wealthy one day. He's what Kevin Samuels calls a Henry, high earning, not rich yet. He's that guy. And she descended because she wasn't capable, or mentally capable of actually helping him. She descended down into 89s where she's not ambitious. That's probably because of her choice. And now she's slipping down into the 87 level where she's actually managing an apartment. And you can see that the man that she's having relations with is basically a blue collar working class dude that works for TSA. And I think a lot of that reason is because as a black woman, because she's not the prettiest 92 on the block. And rather than taking a step down in submissive role and competing, she'd rather rule in hell rather than serve in heaven. So she's always dating a guy that she has an advantage over. Lawrence, when he was down and she was dominating him, she was cool with it. And when she tried to do the submissive role, it never quite worked out. So basically, she is sliding down to the 87 level, and that's where she is. So 89, which is the center point, can sometimes be confusing because depending on where her likes and abilities lie, she could either go back up to a 92 or she could actually slip down to an 87. In this case, she's done exactly what I thought she would do according to what trajectory she had been on. She's down there with the 87s. Now, maybe later on in the series, she might elevate herself back up to a 92. But the thing is, that doesn't seem likely, but we'll see. Now, contrast her with a natural 92, which is Condola. And I actually want to kind of highlight Condola here because if you want to know what a quintessential 92 is, that is ambitious. Condola is ambitious because she got all the vendors together. She has all the contacts. She has the Rolodex. She's helpful without being too pushy. She's elegant with it, okay? That is a natural 92. She just happens to live in that world. She's ambitious without being competitive. And you notice her interaction with Lawrence is always submissive. Even from last year, the year before last, the end of the last series when she's having a date with Lawrence. You can tell by the look in her eyes and the soft spokenness that she is willing to submit to a 92 guy, which actually suits Lawrence very well. I didn't know if they're going to bring Lawrence back this season or not, because I thought that him and Condola would ride off into the sunset. You probably never see him again. But the thing is that the fact that she is actually Issa's mentor in event planning, which is something Issa's been wanting to do forever, especially in the nonprofit field. She's Issa's mentor. She's Issa's rainmaker. And she happens to be dating her ex. And Issa's, while she's really not cool with it, at least not in this particular series, you can tell she's not cool with it. The thing is, Issa knows she got beat out by a better woman. No ifs, ands, or buts. She's nicer. She's sweeter. She's smarter. She's prettier. She's more graceful. She's more elegant. All the things that Issa aspires to be, Condola is that in a package. She is the quintessential natural 92, which is not like Tiffany, who's basically a natural 92 that's slumming, which is the other thing that confuses people. You have 92s that are natural 92s that actually dip down into the ratchet side, which we see that in the interaction between Condola, Issa, and Tiffany when Tiffany was in the office. And Tiffany neglected to tell the two parties, the two sides, about what was going on. So basically, Condola's trapped in the middle. But the thing is, notice the way Condola actually handled herself when she was confronted with the stress of the man that she has been dating is the ex of the woman she's mentoring. And the difference in the way that Issa handled it and Condola handled it, or how Molly would have handled it. Because what did Molly say? Molly said she would have, basically burned down the bridge. I'm not going to work with somebody that's dating my ex, even though that is your ex. And this is business. And how Condola was able to take that information, take it to Lawrence, not take it out on him, but take it to him, air her concerns, still be submissive, Ask him what she should do. Let him make the decision. And he made the decision that you shouldn't bail on Issa. She needs you. You should help her. And she did exactly that. She went out there. She helped Issa kill it, get sponsors, make her mixer go successfully, and did it even though she knew there was going to be some kind of tension between her and Issa. That's a 92. That's a natural 92, which is not the advice that Molly gave Issa. Finally, we're going to get to Molly, because a woman like Molly confuses a lot of guys. And I know Molly. How do I know Molly very well? Because I was engaged to a woman like Molly, which is a 92 climber. Now, Molly herself is a self-described former hood rat, and she has hood rat leanings, and she has hood rat reactions sometimes when she's under stress. And sometimes she strains at that 92 leash because she actually wants to be that bulldog instead of that poodle, instead of that lap dog. Now, Molly has been standoffish toward the Asian guy, even though she likes him. And she likes him because he's Asian, but he has street swag, because he's been around black dudes all his life. You can tell there's certain Asians that, because they were cool, they did nothing but hang around black dudes in their social life and then code switch in their professional life because they're Asian. And that street swag is something that Molly likes. But the thing is, with 92 climbers, because they're so ambitious and they're so constrained, they want to constrain everything else in their life. They want everything else in their life to conform. So they put a lot of stress on themselves and a lot of stress on their relationships, because to climb like that, to climb classes like that, especially for a woman in this day and age, they actually have some kind of neurosis. You can tell it's really on evidence in this particular episode, because she's taking Andrew, which is the Asian dude, to the mixer, because there's going to be a lot of people in advertising just like Andrew is. And he can meet some people, blah, 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 help Issa out, that kind of stuff. So she's riding with him, and basically 92 climbers don't know when to shut the fuck up. And she asked the dude, is there going to be a second day? She says, how about Friday? And he says, any other day. She should have left it right there, because they weren't really serious with each other. They should have left it right there. But no, she says, so does that mean you're seeing other people? And we had just talked about this, in fact, on Kendra's show, about being honest and being truthful. We had just talked about this. And this is why dudes are not upfront and truthful a lot of times, for that very reason that she just displayed. They're not serious. She's been seeing other people, or she's keeping her options open. She's not serious with him. They're having a good time because they're dating. They're not really a couple. And since he says he's seeing other people, she has a hissy fit, or she turns into Molly, the corporate cold bitch, right? So she's ready to dump Andrew. So she starts treating Andrew mean because he said something she didn't like, even though they never talked about it. If she wanted to be exclusive, she should have talked about it with him. But since she can't have things her way, she's gonna throw a tantrum. And all throughout the party, she's trying to get Issa to side with her over this tantrum over something that shouldn't have been. Even Issa says, okay, he's seen other people. I said, I thought you guys were just having fun. And Molly gives her that look, said, oh, you really like him. Not just like him, but like him, like you're serious about him. And Issa gave her some solid advice. You got to be real with yourself. You got to be who you are. You got to be honest with the dude. That's what she was trying to say. Instead of trying to play the ice princess, like you're superior to everybody and nobody can climb up that wall. You know that wall? I think they put that, if I can find it, I'll actually put it posted so you can actually see it. Where black women pretend like there's a wall. I'm up on this wall. They don't want to come down or meet you halfway. And they pretend like if you can't climb that wall, they don't want to be with you. When you're walking away, they give that thing like, I wish he had stayed. Instead of being real, I like him, I'm willing to come down and meet him halfway. That was Molly. And Molly wouldn't admit that when Andrew says, you know what, you be safe. I see you tripping, I'm gonna bounce. And then Molly does what Molly always does, which is typical of a 92 climber, which is, truth be told, that's the reason I did not even though I love that girl to death, she was beautiful. She's everything I wanted in a woman. But the neuroses of a 92 climber and their tendency to turn around and bite you and go off on a hair's trigger is a problem with 92 climbers. They can never really rectify, very difficult, I can't say never, they can rarely rectify that 85 hood rat with that corporate chick. Just because you have an education and you layered all that over, that hood chick is still inside of you and it will still come out. And when you're under stress, that hood chick will actually come out and wreck things for you, which is something that she just did. You see how Condola handled it, right? Condola's a natural 92. You see how she handled that situation with Issa, Tiffany, and Lawrence. She handled it with class. A 92 climber, it's very difficult for them to do that. She did exactly what a 92 shouldn't do. She actually got mean. She actually turned on her best friend and used something that was very sensitive, which is what hood rats do when they get mad, which is very sensitive because I'm hurt. I didn't like what you said because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use something that we're supposed to be very good friends about, and I'm going to stab you with it. I'm going to stab you with it because that's what we do in the hood. We get messy, we stab each other, we cut each other with it, and then 2 weeks later, because we're both messy, we're going to come back together and we're going to be friends again. That is the difference between a natural 92 and a 92 climber. And even though I'm an 89 dude, because at one time I was a Lawrence, that's why a lot of dudes like me, we actually see Lawrence in us, or see us in Lawrence. I don't know how you would put that in English. And for chicks like Issa that are insensitive and spoiled, and chicks like Molly that can be vicious, then dudes like that tend to shy away. Now I'm sure Andrew and Molly will get it fixed and they'll get back together. And I'm sure that at the very beginning, why Issa doesn't fuck with Molly anymore, I can see why, because what Molly did, what Issa did was trying to help her, was trying to be helpful. And Molly felt betrayed because Issa wasn't on her side. So what's what she did? She took the very thing, the most hurtful thing she could do. Now she know that girl still loves Lawrence. And that girl really doesn't want to see Lawrence with anybody else. And the girl's trying to make it work between this triangle, which is her, Condola, and Lawrence. And Molly took the very thing that would hurt her, and the very stake that would hurt, and drove it through her heart. And you could see it in Issa's face. She was so shocked that her bestie, her ride or die, would actually do that to her, and not only throw it in her face, but also shove it in her heart, and then gloat over it because you mad. But anyway, I don't want to make this sketch too long because I could actually take this episode apart with Issa, with Condola, and with Molly and Tiffany, and even the ratchet neighbor upstairs. The 4 octanes were actually on display in their glory. All of them on display in their glory. You could see it. But the thing is, I don't want this episode or this review to be an hour long, because I could literally take this apart like a surgeon and put it back together, because this is very instructive. But anyway, all right, Field Master, I guess we're doing it this year. This is for you. Tell me what you think. Cousin T-Taw, if you would like to chime in, see where I aired, like, comment, share. And there's probably going to be a lot of women because Insecure is very popular with the women. So if they come in and they want to comment for this particular video, y'all please be nice. Don't go after them. Let them rock out a little bit, all right? Be gentlemanly for a change. I know this is the Rogues Gallery and it's rough and tumble in here, but hey, for this episode, for this video, for this Insecure series, they're going to be coming in. They're going to make their little comments. Let them make their comments, okay? If they get out of line, I'll handle it. Anyway, you guys, it's BGS out.